Let's proceed with the last part of our lecture today. No, we will tackle your fibrin degradation products and anticoagulant therapy. So, dito tayo, your FDPs or fibrin degradation products. Usually, it is the aftermath of the degradation done by your plasmin. Diba? Recall lang natin, the plasmin digest your fibrinogen and fibrin. Ngayon, yung products na to or your fibrin fragments will either inhibit hemostasis, prevents platelet activation, or it will hinders your fibrin polymerization process, all of which will lead to bleeding in a patient. Okay? Tingnan natin yung products na to, no? Yung mga FDPs. So, meron tayong mga fragments called fragment X, fragment Y, and fragment D and E. So, tingnan muna natin yung process of fibrinogen degradation muna tayo. So, fibrinogen degradation, after meeting with plasmin, it will form the degraded fragment D, E, and D. So, itong complex na to, this is now called your fragment X. Pero, buo pa rin yung clot mo. So, it will further degraded by plasmin into complex DE and a single fragment D. Okay? So, ang tinatawag na itong complex na to, fragment Y. And then, ito buo pa rin na blood clot. So, it will be further degraded by plasmin. So, maghihiwalay na lahat yan. Your fragment E and two fragments of fragment D. Ito na yung final product of your fibrinogen degradation. Sa fibrin degradation naman, 'di ba, ang ating fibrin is a complex of fibrinogen. So madaming D complexes yung mga 'yan. So madaming ide-degrade si plasmin diyan. So meron tayong fragment YY and fragments DXD complex, which is composed of, 'di ba yung Y natin is combination of your D and E. Okay? D and E and D and E. So, ito yung YY complex. DXD. Okay. Ang DXD is composed of your combination of your D and D. Okay? Ito yan. D and D, D and D, and a single E which will bind both D and D complex. So, kaya tinawag siyang DXD complex. Kasi itong X, di ba yung X natin is the DED complex. Yung D, nasa gilid. So, D, X, and then D. And then further, para ma-degrade ito, another round of plasmin degradation. And this time, makikita mo na yung mga complexes as DED, E, and the D dimer. DED is formed by your D and D complex with fragment E, single fragment, and the D dimer. Itong dalawang ito. Ito yung ngayon yung ito yung tinitingnan natin as confirmatory test for DIC, right? The D dimer test. So, para hindi magkalituhan, ito na yung yung ating table. Sa fragment X, ito yung combination of your DED complex, fragment Y, your DE lang, fragment D and E. So, ito yung final products of your fibrinogen degradation, your EDD, or yung mga single fragment E, single fragment T, segment fragment D. Okay? Sa fibrin degradation naman, ito yung naka-red yung final products. DED, single E, and the D dimer. So, ito mas ginagamit for the marker for DIC. Okay, again, no? Ito na yung final na pinapamemorize ko sa inyo. Diba? Meron na tayong 4 na markers. So, first, marker natin protein S, C4BBP complex. Next is your TAT complex. Next is the pi1 complex. And then lastly, your D-dimer. So, all of which pwede ka mamili kahit isa. You can use that as a marker for thrombosis. Okay? And yung D-dimer, aside from yung markers for thrombosis, pwede mo rin masabi kapag present na to na natapos na yung both process of coagulation and fibrinolysis. Okay? Kasi nga, ito na yung final product of your fibrin degradation. And again, no, confirmatory test siya for DIC. And it is a test used to rule out your venous thromboembolism. Or yung mga DVT natin, yung deep venous thrombosis. Next topic are your inhibitors of acquired coagulation. These are acquired autoantibodies, no? And we can classify these antibodies as IgG, and specifically yung type 4 of IgG. Okay? These are warm antibodies. And the most common type of acquired coagulation inhibitor is your autoanti-factor VIII antibodies, or also known as acquired hemophilia. Diba meron tayong hemophilia na congenital, ibig sabihin yung factor VIII deficiency. Pero this time, kapag acquired, autoantibodies ang may problema. Okay? So, pwede tayong gumamit ng, for diagnostics, pwede tayong gumamit ng clot-based mixing studies using normal or fresh plasma. Kasi pag itong ginamit natin, there is no missing clotting factors. Kasi lahat present dito sa type of reagent. So, halimbawa, no, ang pasyente mo may autoantibodies against factor VIII, your PTT will be prolonged, no? And then, kapag minix mo siya with a normal plasma, dahil may factor VIII dito, PTT will be corrected, no? And then, kapag naman in-incubate mo siya at 37 degrees, remember, it is a warm antibody, right? Ma-activate ulit si autoantibodies, no? Ma-activate mo yan, and then, therefore, masisira niya yung factor VIII na present supposedly sa normal plasma. And again, kapag nag-PTT ka, prolong ulit yung result. And for confirmatory, no, para mabilang mo din yung levels ng autoantibodies mo, pwede kang gumamit ng itong assay, Bethesda assay. So again, pag confirmatory, weird yung name, no? And then for the management, pag may mga ganito kang sakit, no, may mga autoantibodies ka, generally, you give immunosuppressive drugs. You suppress the immune system. Therefore, you do not produce autoantibodies. You can do plasma exchange. Linisin mo yung plasma niya, no? You will exchange it to a normal plasma. So, therefore, maaalis yung mga antibodies mo. Or next, you can replace the deficient clotting factor such as your clotting factor VIII. Pag nawawala, ibigay mo, no? You give the patient what is missing. Next, your anticoagulant therapy. So, sino yung madalas natin binibigyan ng anticoagulant therapy? So, pwede mo silang ibigay sa mga pasyente, no, na nagkaroon ng stroke, myocardial infarction, or heart attack, and pulmonary embolism. Okay? Para ma-prevent yung recurrence ng mga yan. or sa mga nagkaroon ng DVT or deep vein thrombosis. Kasi itong mga to pwedeng mag-travel papunta sa mga unusual sites. And then, kapag meron ding hypercoagulability states, such as yung APAS, yung mga yan, pag may malignancy or leukemia, pwede mo ibigay yung mga anticoagulant drugs. Okay, classification of drugs naman tayo. So, by history, no, mayroon tayong first set, which is your traditional anticoagulants, targeted, and new oral anticoagulants. Dito muna tayo with traditional anticoagulants. Yung una, hindi pa natin natatarget ng maayos yung mga coagulation factors, no? Kaya ang tawag natin dito is multi-targeted anticoagulants because they have more than one action or non-specific action. Under which are your Coumadin or warfarin in other books, heparin such as yung low molecular weight heparin, and unfractionated heparin. Sa targeted anticoagulants naman, as we know a lot of science na, no, as we research on mechanism of action, yung mga better anticoagulants mas directed na, mas specific na yung action. And under this classification, meron tayong Hirudin, Leperodin, Argatroban, and Fondaparinux. Okay, in new oral anticoagulants naman, or yung mga NOAAs, as comparable yung kanilang mechanism of action with targeted anticoagulants. But in this type of drugs, these are the safest. Hindi mo kailangan bantayan masyado ang pasyente. Lesser ang monitoring. Ano ang mga example ng mga NOAAs? First, yung Apixaban, Dabigatran, and Rivaroxaban. Didiscuss natin yan later on. So, i-differentiate natin yung dalawang traditional anticoagulant muna. Your warfarin and heparin. Ano muna yung similarities nila? They can both be used for heart attacks and stroke, and the excessive use of these two drugs can cause bleeding. Okay? Ngayon, sa difference naman tayo, unahin natin si warfarin. It is used as maintenance, no? Pwedeng araw-arawin mo yung pag-inom nito. Ang heparin, hindi pwede yan. Immediate therapy lang or in ER setting or emergency room setting lang. Si warfarin, ang mode of action niya is to inhibit vitamin K epoxide reductase and quinone reductase, which are involved in vitamin K synthesis. Si heparin naman, it will activate your antithrombin. Ano ulit ang action ni antithrombin? It inhibits your thrombin, factor 9, factor 10, and contact groups such as your factor 11, 12, prekallikrein, and HMWK. Okay? And then further, no, it will inhibit your yung warfarin, it will inhibit your 1972, your factor 10, 9, 7, and 2, plus your protein C and protein S. Naalala nyo, di ba, the prolonged warfarin therapy will decrease the levels of your protein C and protein S. Sa monitoring naman tayo, no, pag meron kang ganito, pag ito ipapainom sa pasyente, kailangan mong bantayan. No, bantayan ang mga pasyente nito dahil sa high risk for bleeding. Warfarin can be monitored using PT-INR. So, kailangan may INR, okay? Para mas standardized yung results. Ang heparin naman, you can use APTT. Kapag nakamit ka ng pasyente na mayroong bleeding manifestation, you give antidotes, no? Antidotes. Sa warfarin, ang antidote mo is activated vitamin K dahil nga vitamin K deficiency, no? It will cause vitamin K deficiency. Sa heparin naman, ang antidote mo is protamine sulfate. Okay, balikan natin ulit yung table na to. Naalala nyo ba ito kanina? So again, unfractionated heparin is large type of heparin and should be monitored by APTT dahil sa high risk of bleeding symptom. Protamine sulfate naman ang ginagamit again for antidote. And sa unfractionated heparin, it only inhibits your thrombin and 10A. Low molecular weight heparin naman tayo, this is the smallest type, no? No need for monitoring for APTT. Pero in case na nag-bleed ang pasyente, you can use protamine sulfate for antidote. It can only inhibit your factor 10A. An example of your low molecular weight heparin is your enoxaparin. And lastly, the synthetic one or the man-made heparin is fondaparinux. This is a large type of heparin, pero no need for monitoring and antidote kasi lesser or wala talagang chance na mag-bleed ka kahit na excessive yung use mo with fondaparinux. And this type of heparin can only inhibit your factor 10. The next generation are your targeted anticoagulants and mostly directed or specific ang action nito. Bakit specific? Kasi it can only inhibit factor 2 or thrombin, no? Except for fondaparinux that can inhibit your factor 10A. Most of them require pa rin ang APT monitoring, except your fondaparinux, kasi lesser ang bleeding dito. Other types of your targeted anticoagulants are your Hirudin. Hirudin is a natural anticoagulant kasi makuha siya sa mga medicinal leech. And again, ano ang factor na ini-inhibit nito? Your thrombin, no? All targeted anticoagulants for thrombin inhibition except your fondaparinux which is 10A. Lepirudin naman, this is man-made version of your Hirudin. And both can target your active site and substrate binding site of your thrombin. And then we have argatroban naman, which is a newer version of your lepirudin. Man-made din siya, but for this one, it only targets the active site only. Dito naman tayo sa mga NOAAs or New Oral Anticoagulants. Isa to sa mga safest version of your anticoagulants. So, mga example nito, yung mga factor 10A inhibitors, yung apixaban, rivaroxaban, and edoxaban. Kapag ang NOAAs ay inhibitor ng thrombin lang, dabigatran ang example nun. So, dito sa ating comparison between your traditional and the NOAAs, no, makikita mo yung large differences niya. No need to memorize the numerical data, okay? Tingnan natin yung interpretation of this table. So, for this one, yung halimbawa, warfarin, very non-specific, di ba? Pag vitamin K, ang synthesis ang ini-inhibit niya, mas madami, protein C, protein S, and the 1972 clotting factors. As compared or in contrast with the NOAAs, konti lang, no? Dabigatran is for the thrombin, rivaroxaban, and apixaban for 10A. Isa lang, single, factor lang. Half-life niya, kung makikita nyo, pinakamalaking half-life yung warfarin as compared to the other NOAAs. Is it a bad thing or a good thing? This is a bad thing kapag mahabang ang half-life. Ibig sabihin, mas nagtatagal siya sa katawan ng pasyente. If ever nabibleed na ang pasyente ngayon, ay nakainom siya ngayon, mag-aantay ka ng 40 hours, no? So, makikita mo sa pasyente, tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang bleeding dahil present pa rin ang warfarin sa katawan niya. And then peak effect naman, kung makikita nyo, mas malaki din ang number dito as compared dito sa mga to. Is this bad news or a good news? This is a bad news pa din, no? Aantayin mo yung 3 or 4 na araw para ma-appreciate mo yung effect ng anticoagulant na warfarin. Unlike itong mga to, immediate effect na, no? Makikita mo na, nakokontrol na niya yung bleeding. And then, antidote. So, kailangan ng antidote yung warfarin. Itong mga NOAAs, hindi kailangan dahil lesser ang bleeding side effect. So, yan ang last slide for this topic and for today.